Hi, my name's Tao, and I'm making this series of videos to share with you some basics about flamenco guitar. Um, this is by no means a substitute for having a real life teacher or for going to Spain to study, which is what I've done for many years and which I highly recommend you do if you get really into this. Um, But since I've had this passion for many years, I thought I'd like to share a bit of it with you. And I'm going to assume some guitar knowledge. If you're picking up a guitar for the first time, you probably want to get the basics before moving on with this. Um, First of all, this is a flamenco guitar. It's similar to a classical guitar in that it has nylon strings, but it's not exactly the same. It's usually made of a lighter wood. It has a brighter sound. It's a little bit uh, less deep, and has a tap plate, which is important because you're going to be tapping with your fingers on there, your fingernails, and so you don't want to damage a guitar. And how you hold the guitar is very important. There's two ways of holding it. The very traditional way is to kind of sandwich it in here and sit with your legs not crossed, and then just kind of be holding it up with the inside of your elbow here. Um, it's a little bit difficult to do this because the guitar can kind of move around, and what's more usual is to cross your right leg over your left leg, and here you can see like this, and then you can you kind of want to rest the inside of your arm here, and you want to be able to make sure that you're completely relaxed, that your body's straight. You want to do a little bit of stretching before you play. Having had years of tendon problems from not stretching, I can't stress that enough. So just a little bit of like this sort of thing, some of these, shaking a little massage, all of that is good before getting into a serious practice session. Now the other thing is, a lot of people wonder what flamenco is. It's not set pieces, and like classical music is, or songs. It's actually a family of song forms, and each of these forms has its own structure. And the way I understand it, about 150 years ago, flamenco as we know it was born, and at first the job of the guitar player was just to carry the rhythm for the singer and the dancer. And still today, obviously, the guitar should, in its ideal form, is supporting a singer and a dancer. But I think, one day a guitar player went home, maybe 100 years ago, and said, well, maybe I can imitate the melody of the singer on the guitar and not just do the rhythm. And so the first falseta was born. And a falseta is a melodic variation that fits within the form that you're playing. So what I want to do today is go over the most basic form. They call it the mother of all the forms, which is called the solea. And the solea comes from the word soledad, which means solitude, and it's often also known as the soleares, and they're often songs about lost love. And but anyway, the guitar, like many of the flamenco rhythms and forms, the solea is based on a 12-beat count, and it's very odd for somebody used to 4/4 basic rock music to get used to this, because also not only is it 12, but the accents are in strange places. The accents are in 3, 6, 8, 10, and 12. 3, 6, 8, 10, and 12. So and you'll see different variations of this in the different forms as we go over them, whether it's alegrias is another form, bulerias is another form. So if you just imagine counting to 12, and we put the accents on the 3, 6, 8, 10, and 12, it would sound like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So again, 3, 6, 8, 10, and 12. So the most basic rhythm that you would play the solea in on the guitar, you'll notice I have the capo on too. You'll often see a capo in flamenco guitar because giving it that higher sound makes it sound a little more bright and a little more flamenco, as they say. Imagine a C shape, but down one. This is kind of an F. You've got your first finger here, your second finger here, your ring finger here on the D string, and you go 1, 2, 3. So we're doing 1 and 2 and 3, and so we're accenting the 3. And then after the 3, we're going to switch to a C major shape, and we're going to do the 4, 5, 6. 4, 5, 6. And if you want to hear that accent a little bit more, you can tap on the 3 and the 6 with your ring finger. You'll notice I have long fingernails. I actually use acrylic fingernails because they're really strong. But you can also, if you have strong nails, you should grow them out. And each person has their preference. I keep them a little bit longer than most, but you definitely need fingernails in order to play flamenco. There's no question. Only on the right hand, obviously. So again, we're going to have the first 6 of the 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then back to this for 7. And then for the 8, we're going to put our pinky here. And then for the 9, we're going to move this to the E string. 10, sorry, 9, and then we're going to do 10 and 11 and 12 and. Remember the accents on the 12, so you're going to go 10 and 11 and 12 and so I'm tapping here with my ring finger while I do the 12 with the thumb. And then 12 and the and is here. So again, to go over the first 12 beats, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, and 12, and so that's one compás. Compás is a word that's very important in flamenco. It means the rhythm. If someone has good compás, they have good rhythm, or they don't have compás, it means they have bad rhythm. But you also say, one compás is one set of 12, or a set of 4 if in some of the other forms that are in the 4/4 time. So we've gone through one compás in the solea form. So that was the most basic thing. Now we're going to try and make it a little bit more complicated. One thing is called the rasgueado, which is the when you hear this sort of thing. It's very important to know that you're not just going like randomly, like one following the other. You have to separate out the fingers very distinctly. So when you practice this, you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that fits into one beat. And or some people just skip the pinky and they go 1, 2, 3, 4. So either way, depending on what you like, but the most basic rasgueados are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3, 4. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna fit those on the 1 and 2, and the 4 and 5, and the 7, and you'll see the non-accented beats. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, and 12, and now I cannot stress enough how important it is to get yourself a metronome. I wasted years of playing and going to Spain and thinking like, oh, I'll learn how to play in rhythm later. First, I just want to get the fingerings. And it's better to play badly but in rhythm than to play well and out of rhythm. So the most important thing is to be able to keep these beats if you want to sound at all authentic in your playing. So again, so the first round we just did it very simply with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then recognize the solea always is by this kind of ending. 11, 10, and 11, and 12, and as you can imagine, there's a million variations on how you can do that. You can go. So instead of the and of 10 and, I'm doing 10, a little arpeggio like that. Or you can do it backwards. Or you can do both. As long as it fits in the and of 10. So 10. And then there's a million variations. You know, there's you'll learn how to just kind of keep making your things more complex. And then the goal is to learn these falsetas, which I'll show you in a minute. There's an infinite variety of them. You can learn ancient ones that come from 80, 100 years ago. You can learn modern ones, which sound more jazzy and kind of syncopated. And there's been an evolution of styles throughout the history of flamenco. First, you know, classical guitar was influential in it, then jazz came into it, and you'll gravitate towards players that play in a certain style. I like a very traditional style, and you know, probably if you find this video, you might know my filmmaking work in the flamenco world, or you might like the style of flamenco, which I really like, which comes from a little town called Morón de la Frontera. Other players today, you know, that play a much more modern style, very different from mine, which also is great, but just different. So again, the falsetas are these melodic variations that fit inside the 12, and you want to kind of build a vocabulary of these things, and kind of only you will know the falsetas that you know, because you'll have learned one from me and one from another player and one from lifting it off a record, and you'll make your solea your own. You don't want to learn like a solea piece all the way through. You want to learn to play the rhythm, then you want to learn how to play the falsetas, and the falsetas will be your like vocabulary, your repertoire of falsetas that you play. So the first falseta I learned when I first started playing guitar about flamenco guitar about 15 years ago it goes like this, and it's going to count to 12, and it's going to count in quarters, like 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and so it's 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 5 E and a 6 E and a 7 E and a 8 E and a 9 E and a 10, 11 and 12, and so what I'm doing here is, the technique is thumb, thumb, finger, thumb. Thumb, thumb, index, thumb. So 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 5 E and a 6 E and a 8 E and a 9 E and a 10. So at speed it sounds like. So now you have a couple of ways of doing the basic rhythm, and you have one basic falseta that fits inside 12. Now this falseta actually has two more parts, which I'll show you, which are variations on it, and you can play them back to back with each other. So again, the first one is 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 5 E and 6 E and 7 E and 8 E and 9 E and 10, 11 and 12. And then the second time, 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 5 E and 6 E and 7 E and 8 E and 9 E and 10. So this, the 10 and 11 and 12 and is being played up here instead of down here. It's just a variation on this E chord. You can see. So once again, 1, 1, 2. A string, you're actually not playing it. So it's 10 and you're skipping over to D. But you want to have this here just in case you hear that, which you can't do, you know. And then the third one starts up here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like an A minor shape. 5, 6, and then 7, 8, 9. Now I have a little condition called focal hand dystonia, which makes this finger often like not behave the way it's supposed to. It kind of comes in. So I've learned to substitute techniques and use my thumb a lot more, which is not the worst thing in the world, because they say for something to be really flamenco, really authentic, really kind of like rootsy, it has more thumb. The driving thumb is a very important thing in flamenco. So for example, this instead of going with my index, I've now started playing this by doing 1, 2, and then up with the thumb, and then back down here. So it's 1, E, and so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Second one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The third one. And back to the rhythm. And then another variation here. You can go. Inside the unaccented beat. So another variation on the rhythm could be, so it's 1, 2, 3. So another very basic falsetta using the same fingering patterns of wonderful falsetta of Diego del Gastor, the old flamenco guitarist who I like most. Look him up if you don't know who he is. Diego del Gastor is his name. And he had a falsetta in the solea form, which went 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 5 and 6, 7 and 8, 9. So that's it for this video. This was probably divided into 2 parts, and we'll continue soon.